and welcome to Zigs, Rollie, and Bonam, the place where 3 college students get to talk about sports and 1 gets graded for it. On today's episode, we have senior golfer Ryan Harold, and we're also going to be talking about the Bulls in the NBA, the Bears in the NFL, and the Blackhawks and the NHL. But first, let's talk to Ryan. Okay, Ryan. So, the women's golf coach, Coach Wyeth, was hired by the men's golf team. Are you going to like that?
You know, I think this is a great opportunity for both the players and Coach Wyeth. As you guys already know, he was the girls' coach, and he led them to a NAC conference title. So I think it's a great opportunity for him to lead the men's program to a NAC title this upcoming spring.
So do you have a lot of experience with Coach Wyeth? Have you talked to him
personally,
before?
I know him. I know what he's about. I know he's from Aurora, and I'm from Aurora, so he kind of knows my family. So I know where he's from, his background, and what he's about.
Do you ever regret, because I see that you stopped playing basketball, do you ever regret that decision?
You know, being a two-sport athlete in college can sometimes take a toll on you. When I was playing 2 sports, my grades weren't as well as I wanted them to be, and I realized that I needed a break from one of the sports, so I decided basketball was the one I would stop playing, and I decided to focus on golf.
As far as moving away from a little bit, as far as your own season golf-wise, how did you feel about it? How did you feel it went?
In the fall, it was actually pretty crazy. Our conference tournament actually got canceled due to the weather, so that was a little different. Haven't gone through that the past 3.5 years. So they're going to be adding on extra tournaments for the spring, I believe, for conference. But this past fall was a good test to see where our team is at right now and what we need to work on over the off season. We definitely need to get stronger. And we're all setting our own goals over the off season, and we're going to try to achieve those to be ready for the spring season.
So, how long is your season normally? Do you, how many tournaments do you go to?
Typically, we'll have like 3 or 4 tournaments before our conference meet, both fall and spring. And it just comes down to whether Mother Nature is cooperating with us and the weather's nice enough to play. It's tough here in Illinois.
How does the off season work for the golf team? Does the coach lay out specific exercise programs or anything, or do you guys just do that on your own?
That's a good question. That's why I'm really excited about Coach Wyeth. He's implementing a lot of different changes into our program, which I have not seen the past 3.5 years since I've been here. We're already working in the weight room with trainer Chad Trudeau. And yeah, we're setting goals. We got to get stronger as a team. I mean, 8 out of 10 of our guys on the golf team didn't even know where the weight room was. We're setting our own goals, and we're gonna be hitting balls all winter. It's just we're implementing different changes in our program that are gonna get us ready for the spring season.
Who would you compare your game to, professional wise?
Oh man, I've always loved Tiger Woods, so he's my favorite player. A lot of people are haters on Tiger, but I guess I would compare myself to Tiger.
You like his professional play more than his personal life.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. He admires.
Did you try to model your swing after him, or did you just do that on your own?
Yeah, I kind of just do my own thing on my swing. I've actually never had a pro help me with my swing.
So you're like
Bubba Watson.
Yeah, Bubba Watson.
Yeah, that's how Bubba is. He kind of does his own thing, but yeah, there's always technical things in your swing that you can work on, and I'm always looking for help, and yeah, so.
So when it comes to your record, do you have a personal record, or is it more of a team record?
My number one goal is to make it to nationals. So if you win conference, you automatically get a bid into nationals, and that's been my goal for the 4 years I've been here. But personally,
But that's more of like a personal, like you record. That's not a team thing or like a club thing.
Our team, that's kind of our team goal. We want to win conference. But personally, for me, I would like to average like in the mid 70s, 75 every round, 76. That's my goal.
How does that How does that work with? Is it your combined team score that gives you like a win or a loss? How does that exactly work?
Each tournament, there's 5 golfers that play, and you take your top 4 scores. So you eliminate the 5th score. It doesn't count if it's a bad round. So that's why it's really important to have 5 golfers that'll come out ready to play. If your top 4 don't play as well as you should, your fifth scorer can pick up the slack.
Do you drive or walk?
We have to walk in tournament play. As much as I would love to ride a cart, we have to walk.
Especially when it gets cold, I can imagine. Okay. So, as far as soon as your golf career is over and career here is over, like, what are your overall plans after graduation?
That's a good question. I don't know exactly what I want to do, but I'm a communications major, and I'm really interested in advertising and marketing. So, if I could get into a job somehow sport related, maybe on a golf course, that'd be cool.
There's always like coaching opportunities for you.
Oh yeah, of course,
isn't there?
Of course.
Yeah. Is that something you'd want to do?
Yeah, I'm really interested in that. Being an athlete for so long, I've played just about every sport, so coaching, really interested in it.
Didn't you went out to California over the summer, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. My brother lives in California.
Yeah, you got away from this weather and hot humidity and cold.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to go there and play golf for a few weeks. It's a great time.
Are you gonna try to move out there again after graduation?
I would love to do that. Obviously, it's pretty expensive to live in California, so I need to get some money saved up before I.
Do you know like where in California you want to go?
Oh, Southern California, of course. Yeah, like
why not?
Huntington
Of
Beach.
course.
Yeah,
okay.
Cali.
That's the dream. Well, why do I want to be here? Like, I applaud you for wanting to leave. But
Thank you.
More power to you.
How much are you golfing when it's not free?
That's a great question. It's going to be different. It definitely will be different playing. I mean, the last 8 years of my life, I've gotten free golf, high school golf, and college golf. So
nice.
It's going to be different when I have to whip out my own wallet and pay for my own golf rounds. I might be only playing once or twice a week, but yeah, definitely I'll still be playing. I'm never going to stop playing golf. I love playing it. So.
Oh, that's one of the few sports that you can play.
Of course, forever.
Basically.
Yep.
Okay, so our overall focus on the show is we were talking about Chicago sports teams. We're mostly Chicago sports fan, other than Will. He likes the Caps and stuff. We forget about him. What are your favorite pro teams?
Yeah, Chicago sports, of course. Besides the Cubs.
Besides the Cubs.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah, Blackhawks, Bears. I guess you can say White Sox.
I guess you could say White Sox. So you don't count the Cubs, but you count the White Sox?
See, I like to say I'm Chicago fans, but I'm just a big fan of all the sports, really. I like to pick out individual players that I like to model myself after and look up to.
So what's your favorite sport? These are non-golf sports.
Okay, so I say I played baseball my whole life. So my favorite player, baseball-wise, is definitely Derek Jeter. He's a great role model, and he plays the game. He plays the game the right way. He's a great role model.
So then, who's your favorite Chicago athlete?
I'm gonna go with Derrick Rose, 100%.
Okay,
my guy.
More of a Joakim Noah fan, personally.
Cutler? No, I'm just kidding.
We'll go down that route a little later.
I think it's become a bad thing to say that you're a fan of Jay Cutler.
I used to defend him, but condiments like that, Ryan just even joking about liking him, that's the new sentiment. So.
Okay, well, I guess now's a good time to take our first break. Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bears and the NFL. We'll be right back.
Textbooks yet?
Just go to the bookstore. They have what you need. Hey, are you going to the game tomorrow night?
I don't think so. I don't have any AU clothing.
The bookstore has a ton of apparel. They have what you need.
Man, what am I going to do with all of these old books?
Just take them to the bookstore. They buy back your old books.
That's a great idea. Open Monday through Friday, the AU bookstore in Dunham Hall is stocked with textbooks and apparel. The bookstore is a great place that will have all the AU essentials that you need.
Hey, how is your paper going? I'm having such a hard time with the APA format.
Me too.
I was having trouble with APA also, but not anymore.
What?
I made an appointment and took my paper to the Center for Teaching and Learning.
The what?
The Center for Teaching and Learning. It doesn't cost anything. You make an appointment with a professional one-on-one tutor for math, writing, and peer tutoring for other subjects.
The Center for Teaching and Learning is located in the library. The hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I can't believe the semester's almost over. I'm already thinking ahead to next semester.
I know. Since I am working more, paying for school will be a lot easier.
Work cut back on my hours, so I don't know how I'll be paying for it.
Have you checked out the latest scholarships on the financial aid website? I applied for 3 in under 5 minutes.
No, how do I do that?
Go to the Aurora website and click on financial aid. Then go to applying for aid on the left-hand side.
It's that easy?
It's that easy. The office sends out emails, so check it often. Don't forget to fill out your FAFSA too.
Great, I'm going to get started on that.
All right, well, you're back on AU Spartan Radio listening to Zigs, Rollie, and Bonam. Robert, I believe you had some thoughts about the Bears.
Well, guys, after a historic blowout like that to your hated rival, I thought I'd throw out some stats. In the last 47 games against the Packers, that's like including the Brett Favre's first start and then, of course, all the way through Aaron Rodgers, the Bears are 13-34 against the Packers. That's not good, obviously.
No.
Let's move. Okay. In the last 11 games, they've allowed 50 points 3 times. In the 91 years before that of their existence, they had 0 instances of allowing 50 points. In the last 21 years, they've been in the playoffs 5 times.
That's not good
enough. That's not good enough. Just for frame of reference, just because we want to model ourselves off the Packers, right? Because we hate everything about them, but they're the model franchise. They've only missed the playoffs 5 times. In the last 51 years, the Bears have had 14 playoff appearances, 27 losing seasons, and 1 Super Bowl off a team that's supposedly the greatest team ever. But last I checked, you wanted a dynasty, and we idolized Ditka for 1 title. So what we saw on Sunday night, the 55-14 blowout. I don't think it's something. I think it's something that's been coming for a long time. I think it's been an organizational failure for a while. Whatever tradition people say the Bears have because they're such a big marker of the flagship franchise, that hasn't existed for a long time. And they've been on the same level of success as teams like the Raiders. But then why would I say the Raiders? The Raiders have 3 Super Bowls. The Raiders probably have as many playoff appearances as the Bears in the last 21 years. I mean, this team is dysfunctional. It doesn't just start with the Green Bay game. It doesn't just start with Mark Trestman, Jay Cutler, Phil Emery, whoever. It's been a building problem for a long time.
I think, personally, the last, 10 years or so, every single season they've tried to... They claim that they're trying to win it all, right?
Yeah.
That's usually what they say, is that the main goal is to win a Super Bowl. But they haven't rebuilt in how long, They haven't, torn everything down and rebuilt. Every season there's just been Band-Aids brought in. And I think that leads to the ultimate problem of being this bad and having this many old players and no one who is young that can come in and fill those old players' roles.
And that was going to be my further indictment to that. Thank you for bringing that up. The Bears, of their 53-man roster, have 31 free agents. Sorry for yelling. That's the most in the NFL. The Packers have 5, the least amount. There's no continuity on this team. They're old. They brought in free agents. They don't have any they don't have any chemistry together. And most of these guys don't even know what it means to be a Bear. But at this point, after I brought out all those stats, what does it mean to be a Bear? A loser? Because it's a dysfunctional organization, to be honest.
So what would you do to fix it?
I mean, it's hard to call for people's jobs, right? You're going to call out Mark Trestman. You're going to call out Jay Cutler. But Jay Cutler is Jay Cutler. He was never going to change. Mark Trestman was supposed to be offensive guru and tell him to stop making bad decisions. You don't change a quarterback's tendencies when he's 31 years old, right? Mark Trestman's system, I think, obviously it's not working, but...
Because I know in most sports, the first thing to go is always the quarterback and the coach. Those are the two first ones.
See, then that's the hard thing to call for their jobs because they just committed to Cutler for 2 more years. They gave him $54 million guaranteed, so he's at least here through the next season. There's no way they get rid of him other than some kind of crazy trade to Tennessee or something.
That's not going to happen, though.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Nobody wants him.
Nobody's going to trade for that contract.
And Phil Emery, he's not going to abandon Mark Trestman or Jay Cutler because he's stacked his reputation on them. So he's not going to admit he made a mistake right away and fire them. But maybe if the Bears go 4-12 or 3-13 the rest of the season, for frame of reference, they're 3-6. So that means they lose 10 games in a row, right? Unless that happens, I think really maybe only Mark Trestman could lose his job. But at this point, Mel Tucker, and you're not going to fix the Bears in one season. You're not going to fix the Bears in 2 seasons. They're broken down at the core.
No, most teams it takes like 2 or 3 years to rebuild at least.
They haven't. Yeah, they haven't.
That's the one nice thing about the NFL, though, is that it's set up to turn someone over. Like every single year, there's a team that finished last place in the division that ends up making the playoffs the next year. So it's possible, but I think the problem with the Bears is that they try to do that every year. They try to throw Band-Aids over the problems.
Yeah, but they
don't tear it down. They don't even make the playoffs.
Well, I'm saying like you're saying the bottom team goes into the playoffs the next year, but they don't win the whole thing. Not every time.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's what I'm saying. You need like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, you might make the playoffs, but maybe 3 years later, then you finally win it.
Okay, but Rob, let me ask you a question. So, you don't think that Phil Emery will lose his job, right?
I don't think he'll lose his job after this season. I think he's going to have another choice of head coach.
But you do think he's going to have another choice of head coach?
Yes.
Do you think he has earned the right, and do you think that it's a good idea to let him hire another head coach? He's probably going to hire another weird dude like Mark Trestman. Because he's just weird.
Yeah, well, obviously he passed up on Bruce Arians, right? And that worked out well. Bruce Arians making a winner and Super Bowl contender out of a team
with Drew
Stanton at quarterback. Just for frame of reference, Drew Stanton. I'm not sure if he deserves it. But he's going to get the benefit of the doubt. Because he's been the least mediocre, right, of the three of the Serpent, Jay Cutler, Mark Trestman, and Emery.
I mean, he's had a few good draft picks, but otherwise
he's still sort of living through the Jerry Angelo era, where the Bears had to, like you said, the Band-Aids. The whole defense wore down. The great defense of the Lovie Smith era, and they didn't have the capacity to rebuild fast enough. But then I'm not giving him excuses because at the end of this season, it's going to be 4 years. So really, this team's been modeled the way he wants for a long time. So how can anyone say that he gets more of a pass? He'll get another chance at head coach. Maybe he'll pick someone for real though. I mean, I like Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator at Arizona. I like Adam Gase, the Broncos offensive coordinator. These guys proven NFL talents. Maybe he won't reach out to the CFL again, guys who haven't. Someone who's never experienced actually coaching at a really high level in the NFL. Mark Trestman didn't have a high staying power around the league before. He hadn't been in the league in over 10 years. So he's going to get it. And I, for one, don't think it's the right decision, and I just hope he doesn't mess up. The Bears are a rebuilding project, and he has to make the right decision because they had a good draft this year. 2 or 3 more drafts like this year, with Jeffrey or Kyle Fuller, those 2 defensive tackles. Have a few more of those drafts, the Bears could be a contender in 2017 or 2018. I really think that. But they're not going to win this year. They're not going to win next year, and maybe not even the year after that.
No, I don't. I think it'll be quite the process.
And I'd appreciate the patience. I'd rather bottom out. I'd rather have the team be a winner, an actual consistent championship contending team, rather than the Bears 3-6 right now, right? So the typical Bear way will be to try to salvage the season, get the 7 or 8 wins, and then ruin your draft position. Bottom out, start getting draft picks, and understand that you have to rebuild up to be a true championship contender.
Yeah, that has worked in the past. Like teams who've just completely bottomed out, they've gotten great draft picks.
Look at the Colts when Peyton Manning was out for a year.
The Bears will never do that.
Absolutely not.
Sometimes it's better to just take the losses, so in the long run you benefit from it.
Yeah, why go for a lost season? Yeah. Why put it all in the lost season?
The NFL is similar to the NBA in that way, and how it's actually potentially it's more beneficial to try to lose and rebuild through the draft.
Oh, it's the same with the NHL too.
Yeah, there's really no point in in trying to convince yourself that you have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl when you don't. You have an old defense that can't stop anything or anyone.
I don't think it's going to be trying to compete for the Super Bowl.
No, I'm just
I think
saying,
they're trying to save their jobs.
But trying to convince themselves that they can compete instead of just essentially tanking.
Yeah.
And getting a higher draft spot. I think that is what they need to realize, is that it's probably more beneficial to them right now to tank.
And that's the reason the Bears have been so dysfunctional for such a long time. They don't take a long-term view. They don't.
No,
it's all about saving their jobs. It's all about saving their hide and just
making a
year-by-year basis, make a profit margin. The McCaskies, they want to win, at least. Not before. George McCaskey, he's more aggressive. That's why I think they're going to fire a coach 2 years into a big contract. But, I mean, like you mentioned the draft picks. In the NFL, it's more guaranteed, too. If you tank, you're going to get a good pick. In the NBA, I like the people were advocating for the Bulls, right, to tank last year, but it's not guaranteed that you get a high pick. The lottery jumbles everything around. And then in the NHL, prospects take years to develop. In the NFL, if you get a top 10 pick, more often than not, that player's going to be productive his first season.
Yeah,
if he's not a quarterback.
Yeah. It just depends. Like in the NHL, like they don't take that long. Like the year before the lockout, Ovechkin and Crosby were the two number 1, number 2 draft picks. And now look at the Penguins. They got Crosby one year, and then the next year they got Malkin. They're always a playoff contender, and they've won the Cup once since they've come there. So like. Yeah, they were probably the worst team in the league at that time before the lockout, but now they're such a playoff contender that really their only problem is goaltending.
Yeah.
Those are rookie phenoms, though, right? Like those aren't like consistent prospects.
It's fairly consistent. I mean,
every year in the NHL draft, is there someone like that?
Oh, there's almost always someone like that. Like last year, there was Seth Jones. He's the number 1 defenseman for the Nashville Predators, and behind Shea Weber, who's their captain. He's a number 2 guy on the team, defenseman-wise, for points. Like last year as a rookie, he put up 13 goals and he had 26 assists. And as a rookie defenseman, that's amazing.
Okay, I stand corrected. Maybe that's happening. Tanking works. That's the point. Tanking works.
Okay, so what we've learned from this segment is that if you want to be a championship contender, you need to suck for a couple years.
Yeah,
and you need to have pride. To understand that to have that long-term prospects, the Bears don't do that.
Well, it's like what the Cubs did. The Cubs brought in people who are smart, Theo, and then Theo saw what the organization had and said, "This isn't going to work. We need to suck for 3-4 years, get a bunch of high draft picks, get some talent in the system, and then we're going to compete." And that's what the Bears are, the worst self-scouting team. Probably in the NFL. The Bears look at themselves like, okay, Mark Trestman every week says, we had a good week of practice. And they never do.
You practice how you play. So the garbage we've seen the last 3 weeks, we see how the practices go, They've been blown. They haven't led in a game since Atlanta, since October. They haven't led in a game since the beginning of October.
Okay, so you've heard, I assume you've heard a lot of fans are actually supporting the team for... they want the team to lose, right?
Yes, I'm on that. I'm firmly on that bandwagon.
Okay.
I'm firmly on that bandwagon.
Will?
I'm up for it.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's
tank it. Tank it.
Let's lose.
I don't know if they'll listen to me, but yeah, I say go ahead and lose. And just because, like we were talking about, the draft pick is what you really want in the long run. Like, you want to rebuild. If you want to win and go middle of the draft pick, fine, go ahead and do it. But it's going to be consistent losses.
Sometimes you get lucky. They picked Kyle Long, right? They picked Jeffrey. They picked Kyle Fuller. But if you have a top 10 pick, you have a better chance as a real franchise prospect, a guy that's going to be a Pro Bowl or a guy that's going to change your franchise. You're 16 to 20, where the Bears routinely want to finish.
That's not going to do anything.
It's not going to do anything, and then later on, your draft prospects in second and third round, and so on, changes as well.
All right, quick question before the break. If the Bears are in the top 10 in this next year's draft, which is in Chicago, by the way, and Jameis Winston's available, do you take him?
No, because Jameis Winston is the Florida State version of Jake Cutler. He's going to bring just as much controversy. And I don't say that trying to be funny. He's going to bring the same amount of controversy. I watch him in college now. He makes the same kind of bad decisions. He's a decent athlete, not a great athlete, just like Cutler. I wouldn't bring up the headache that Winston is. He's gonna be Jay with more off the field problems. At least Cutler doesn't have any issues with violence against women or anything like that. All his problems are around the field. Now you're gonna double both issues. It's not worth it.
Fair enough. All right, well, that's going to wrap up the first half of Zigs, Rollie, and Bonam on AU Spartan Radio. We will be right back.
I'm so tired. I was so active this summer, but hate running in the cold.
Well, why don't you go to the gym?
The gym? I can't afford a gym membership, and I'm saving up for spring break.
Just go to AU's Fitness Center in Jenks Hall. I was there last night on their new elliptical machine.
Plus, it's open till midnight, Sunday through Thursday, and free for students.
That's a great idea.
Plus, no one wants to see a fat guy in a Speedo on spring break.
I'm having trouble studying. How do you get such good grades?
I study at Phillips Library. Why don't you go?
How's that gonna help?
There are individual study rooms.
What about the book selection?
Phillips Library has a collection of more than 99,000 books and 7,000 multimedia materials.
That sounds great, but I work till 10.
And Phillips Library is open until 2 a.m. Monday through Thursday.
Well, I don't know how to find my way around the library.
That's why there's a friendly staff ready to answer any questions you have. Hey, where are you going?
To the library.
Are you looking to get involved on campus? Are you a communication major or minor? Then you should join Lambda Pi Eta. Lambda Pi Eta is the official honor society of the National Communication Association and is here at Aurora University. Lambda Pi Eta offers many opportunities to volunteer and network with other communication professionals. Not to mention, it will look great on your resume. If you are interested in becoming a member, contact our president, Tiffany Walls, at twalz01@aurora.edu. Be a smarty and join LPE.
All right, well, welcome back. You are listening to Zigs, Rollie, and Bonam on AU Spartan Radio. We're going to start the second half of the show, talking a little bit about the Bulls in the NBA. Did you guys watch the Bulls game last night against the Raptors?
Yes, sir. I didn't get a chance, so I was out.
A way to support the show. Okay, so I assume you saw how well the Bulls played with Derrick Rose on the court.
Yes.
And you probably saw him hurt his hamstring.
Yes.
Is what they say it is. Okay, so what's your opinion of... Do you think that Derrick Rose should try to play through these little minor injuries during the regular season? Because you have to assume that he's going to play through them during the playoffs, because he has to.
Yeah, you have to play through them during the playoffs. You have to do anything to the playoffs if you think about it. I personally, it's a small injury like that. Like, how many times has he rolled his ankle or something like that and he hasn't played? I mean, come on. After a while, it looks like you just want the paycheck and you don't want to actually have to do anything for it. I know, like, as a hockey player, I've seen players break their fingers, stuff like that. There was one guy in the playoffs, Patrice Bergeron, 2 years ago.
I do agree to bring him up.
And he had a punctured lung, 3 broken ribs, and a separated shoulder, and he went through the playoffs and they won the cup. Like, he played 3 games like that. And
they lost the cup to the Blackhawks when he punctured his lung?
That's right. I was thinking
Just for the record, you're on a Chicago
all right, so, but anyway, he was still playing, right? He was still a trooper. He didn't, roll his ankle and he's like, I can't do it, coach. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I get you, but it's a different culture. It's a different context. You know what I mean? Like, Derrick Rose has been... Basketball is different in general, but Derrick Rose has been through so much mental strain. I mean, these knee injuries haven't just been a toll on his physical body and trying to get back into rhythm in basketball. It's a mental block, too. So even, like, the smallest things that would have a normal threshold of pain for anyone, he's going to overthink it, and he's going to try to think about long-term prospects. Even though the smallest injury, he has to be thinking, like, he literally has to be fearing for the worst. And the Bulls, too, because they're thinking about long-term prospects, like you just said, like playoffs. And I don't know, I think it's just different. Like a hockey player is obviously going to be much tougher than even the toughest NFL player. But the NBA guy, a guy that's been all through these injuries, it's just different.
Yeah, but it's not like just Derrick Rose. Like, I've seen LeBron get carried off for a cramp.
Oh, well, now we're just getting into a whole overall NBA lack of toughness, and I'd agree with that, but LeBron has never torn his ACLs. I think Derrick Rose personally
has
a different mentality.
Yeah.
Have you ever had cramps, though?
I've had a cramp before.
They're pretty hard to walk
I've
if you
had a cramp
have a
while
foot
working
cramp.
out. Yeah.
And for a guy,
fun.
And for a guy to be what he's been through, he probably thought he tore his hamstring. I mean, it's a mental block. As soon as he starts putting games together, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll start realizing the minimal injuries that he used to have in his first 3 years of his career. That he'll get past the mental block. But for now, it's nothing to worry about.
I think it's actually going to benefit him in a weird way. It'll benefit him to have these injuries during the season because he'll start to remember what minor injuries feel like.
As long as he gets them out of the way now, that's really all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, okay, would you be happy Derrick Rose plays 40 games this season?
He's not going to play 40 games.
If he plays 40 games, would you be happy?
No, but he's
satisfied.
Wait,
you wouldn't be happy?
Derrick Rose plays 40 games this season and is into the playoffs healthy.
I'm saying that's a small number. I think he's going to play like 60 plus. I think he's going to play less than 70.
He's already missed 5 games. He's probably going to miss the game.
He's not used to the minimal. Like we just said, he's not used to that. But he will as the season wears on. By Christmas time, I think he starts getting. True, hopefully. And people are comparing it to the lockout season he had when he tore his ACL when he couldn't get over any of the injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's different. I think it's something just like an ankle sprain, a minor ankle sprain for somebody else turns into a hospital and a sniper shot for Derrick Rose. And that's fine for now. He's going to play 60 plus games. I'd put a number 62. He's getting out of the way now. He's getting out of the way. He's not back into game shape yet. Remember, he hasn't played in 185 games.
So how long until he's back into game shape then?
I think he's basically almost in game shape now. It's just basically...
You think it's just mental?
I think it's mental, and I think... We're not Derrick Rose, so what can we say? And he hasn't played in a 40-minute game yet either, so they're still limiting his minutes. He's not ready fully in game shape yet. He's only been playing 30 minutes a night when he has played.
Do you think it's just a mental thing, or he's like not physically right? Like you said, he hasn't played X number of games. Like, are you sure it's just mental, or maybe part of it's physical too?
I'm not sure if it's an aberration because his first 3 seasons he missed 6 games, and then he had like almost 200 in the past 3, right? So it's mostly been just bad luck for him. I don't think it's something necessarily that he's had issues with, that his body's naturally fragile. Like people like to joke about, like they're like
so it's just become like a joke. It's not like people are serious. Well, they might be a little serious about it, but
Cavs fans or LeBron fans would be serious about it. Let's be honest. But, I don't know. I'm not worried about him, at least for now. Unless he tears the ACL again, please don't tear your ACL again. I think we'll be fine. The Bulls look like a complete team. The Bulls look like they have everything together. It looks like they even changed their own culture. Like 2 minutes ago last night, the lead is slipping away against a good team on the road in the Raptors. And even Tom Thibodeau isn't yelling or trying to put Derrick Rose back in the game for a minor injury. Like they changed the way they think. Even if Tom Thibodeau's pulling back on Derrick Rose, they're thinking big.
That's true. Okay, how big of an addition has Pau Gasol been though? He's been great this year.
Oh, I love it. He's basically everything the anti-Carlos Boozer. If you watched last night, like Connor, I was dreaming about how he was just dominating the Raptors. Like that one fade, I think it was like towards the end of the first half where he just he had a fadeaway jumper as a 7-footer at 34 years old. I mean, come on, off the dribble. He's fantastic.
Are you okay over there?
It was fun to watch. What can I say? It was fun to watch.
You just look like you're having a moment.
It was great.
Yeah, it's very refreshing to have someone who will actually give some effort on the defense as well. Because Carlos Boozer, he would just yell.
Yeah, he'd score 30 points and give up 40 points. And he hurt the team overall.
And he would just yell on defense. He
really just got to have a good two-way game. That's really
well.
Be able to play defense and offense.
Not every player is 2-way in the game, right?
Not every player, but
that's a misconception. If Derrick Rose plays against a big time point guard like last night, what did Kyle Lowry do last night?
Not much.
8 points, 9 points,
something like that. Yeah.
If he's playing against DJ Augustine, he's gonna let him go off. So it's when he feels disrespected. Which maybe is a knock on his game, but That's a misconception. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying you can't have like two guys playing defense out there.
Well, no, the Bulls are known for their team defense philosophy, right? Yeah. They all play within the rules of Tom Thibodeau, the best defensive coach in the league. So everyone, not necessarily everyone's a great individual defender, but they know what they're doing and they're always in the right spot.
It's all about having at least one of either Joakim Noah or Taj Gibson on the floor, because they. I mean, obviously you need other people to participate in defense, but those two are the most important people to have on the floor with Thibodeau's defense.
You just put your
just
defense
1-on-5. Everyone else cherry pick. It's fine.
I mean, I like the Joakim Powell combo. I think.
Well, no, I'm saying not together. I'm saying as long as you have one of them.
Oh, one of them on the floor. Right.
Because then, I mean, they've been in the defense for how long now? 5 years, or 4 years, whatever it is. They know it. They know where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. So that's the most important thing, is having one of those two on the floor. Okay, I was having this conversation at work yesterday with my buddy on Twitter. This is kind of off topic. LeBron James decides at age 23 to enter this year's NFL draft.
Oh, I think I saw this conversation maybe.
At age 23. Does he go number 1 overall?
What is he, 6'8"?
He's 6'8", 6'9", 275. Roughly 260.
I think
he goes number 1 overall. Look at how good Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez all played basketball.
Yeah, football has never seen a physical specimen like LeBron James, and until Bo Jackson, I would say.
LeBron has to be faster than 95% of people. 95% of everyone.
All right, yeah, he's fast, but what happens when he takes a hit?
He makes Calvin Johnson look little.
He's huge.
He's huge, but he takes it. Okay, this brings me back to he got carried off the court for having a cramp.
Okay.
He got carried for a cramp. What happens when he gets smoked by some guy?
And then as far as his size and his speed, the football is a game of, or really any sport, is a game of low center of gravity. Other than basketball is the only game that's played above 10 feet, right? He's 6'9". What's he going to play? Tight end? Why would you take a tight end number 1 overall? Someone has to get him the ball. There has to be an offensive line around enough for that quarterback to get him the ball. LeBron James would never go number 1, and I have my doubts. I have my doubts. He lasts a 16-game season.
Yeah. What if he's a wide receiver with some free safety takes his head off?
Calvin Johnson's 6'5". That's tall.
He's bigger than everyone.
I'm not saying he's not bigger than everyone. I'm just saying, like, what if
you need a low center of gravity?
He can jump over everyone.
I guarantee.
Not to catch a ball, though.
That's going to be his main point, is just jumping over everyone.
Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey can jump over everybody, right? How is that working out for them this season? That's not about that. You got to know how to run routes. You got to be able to take hits.
He was a 5-star recruit in high school as a wide receiver.
Yeah, but that was back when he was, 6'6"? He grew a little bit.
A little bit. Just a little bit, yeah. He also gained a little bit.
He was 6'6" or 6'5". He gained more weight, and he was really skinny.
Speaking of LeBron, this year's Cavs, how long is it going to take them to figure it out? Because they're still struggling a little bit. And I kind of have a strong, a different opinion on this, but do you think they are as good of a fit together as the Heat were?
No.
I don't think they are either.
I don't think so.
Because I personally think Kevin Love is one of the most overrated players in the NBA.
Kyrie Irving's one of the most overrated players.
The problem is Kyrie Irving's made of glass. He can't make it half season without getting injured, and then he's out for a month.
I kind of just think the Heat was like a dream team.
I think they were more complete. I mean, Dwayne Wade's one of the best shooting guards ever. Two-way players. Mm-hmm. Chris Bosh was a top 5 power forward when they signed him, and they really just changed his role as the years went along.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Love is a glorified stat pattern. That's what he was in Minnesota, and now he has to change his role and take away the stats from him now. I mean, Ryan has something to add here.
Oh, too. Yeah, I got to bring it back to Kevin Love. How is he overrated? He's an automatic double-double every game. Maybe even a triple-double.
He doesn't defend anyone.
Okay, I see where you're coming from there. Okay.
Chris Bosh at least defended.
And
Chris Bosh was a good defender.
He was a really good defender, that's true. And he has to rely on LeBron and Kyrie now to get him the ball, and they're not going to get him the ball. They have to rely on the contracts of the offense.
The other thing is, with LeBron on the team, Kevin Love has basically become Ryan Anderson. Ryan Anderson just shoots threes.
Yeah, big power forward who just shoots threes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
He'll get his 10 rebounds, but other than that, what else does he give you, really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Kyrie Irving is interesting because he is very, very good. He's talented. He's talented. He's never made the playoffs because he can't stay healthy.
He's never made the playoffs,
but he also doesn't play defense.
Because he's been on the Cavs too, and they've been just about the worst team.
But last year they had a good team. They had not a good team, but They had talent last year. They had Luol who was a solid player.
They still had Verjao.
They had Verjao. They had Dion Waiters.
Well, Dion Waiters,
he can get his own. He's a knucklehead, but he can get his own shot.
Dion Waiters has. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with PER. He has the lowest player efficiency rating in the NBA. So Dion Waiters ain't exactly that good. Let's get that straight.
The other thing about the Cavs this year is I don't think they have Sean Marion coming off the bench.
Ring chaser.
5 years ago that would have been good, but what does he give you now? You don't have anyone coming off the bench if you're the Cavs.
It's just weird to me to see Sean Marion coming off the bench after he took a ring from LeBron when he was with Dallas.
That's true.
But yeah, you bring it like they have no depth, and other than LeBron, like I fail to see the go-to players, and I look at their bench. Who did they have? Who do they have on their bench? I can really only name Sean Marion.
Dellavedova, whoever that is.
They brought in some young guys, and they brought in some
Mike
experience, like Marion, like you said. I personally think they're a force to be reckoned with if they can stay healthy. I mean, you saw LeBron do it with the Heat, with no bench. If they stay healthy...
Those were with transcendent players. Like, that's the point we're making, though. Like,
I compare...
Kyrie Irving is, in my opinion, the most overrated player in the NBA.
No way.
That's a big hyperbole, but he's turnover prone. He's turnover prone. He doesn't play bad defense. People have always told me he's a top 5 point guard. Based off what merit? The NBA has like 15 good point guards.
Let me stop you there, though. Now, you think Dwayne Wade was top 5 the past 2 or 3 years?
Yes.
You think so?
At least the first.
And he hasn't even been healthy. He hasn't even played.
He didn't have to. They got him to the finals playing half the season, and he still had some great games. The NBA is really weak at shooting guard, and he was still the top 2 or 3. So, I mean...
you got me. Yeah, we're just going to have to... I mean, you just got to wait and see. I personally... I mean, I think the Cavs...
Do you trust David Blatt, though? Would you want a more experienced coach?
Yeah, as a Bulls fan, I love the fact that it's Tom Thibodeau versus David Blatt. It's fantastic.
You'd think that if he was such a highly coveted coach, he would have a job in the NBA.
I mean, they went through... I think they...
It wouldn't have taken them so long.
If they knew LeBron was coming, I don't think they would have signed David Blatt.
No. They
already had David Blatt down, so they weren't going to let him go.
I promise you they would have done whatever they could have to get Phil Jackson there.
I feel like they're kind of pulling the same thing the Heat did, though. I mean, with Spoelstra and
that's true.
I mean, a lot of people had doubts about him and about what he was about, and I mean, personally, I think he got the job done with the Heat the last couple of years.
January prediction, and I'm going to go further off that hyperbole. Kyrie Irving will be on the trade. Will be in trade rumors because
trade rumors.
Yes, I saw it last night on
signed to a max deal, and Kevin Love's going to opt out. He's going to LA.
Someone's gonna want Kyrie.
Kevin Love's going to LA at the end of the season. He's not. He's not sticking around Cleveland. It benefits him 100% more to go to LA, where he grew up and played college.
He wouldn't want to play with LeBron.
I don't think it matters to him.
Oh, they're not leaving until they get a ring. They're getting a ring.
You think they're winning?
No, not this year. Not this year.
Next year.
I personally think I'm going with the Bulls. I'm going with the Bulls this year.
Over San Antonio?
If they stay healthy, I think the Bulls have a chance. They made their changes this year. They went out and did what they needed to do. They got Paul Gasol. I think they're a force to be reckoned with.
My only concern with the Bulls is, other than Derrick Rose, is the depth, because the Bulls try to go the San Antonio route, right? Well, Doug McDermott and Nikola Mirotic ain't exactly playing well right now, and that's the issue. I think they'll gel as the season goes along, but if the Bulls are going 8 deep like they go now, they're not going to win the title.
No, they need to. I think Thibodeau needs to play McDermott and Mirotic a little bit more.
He did last night, and they played like hot garbage. McDermott played for 5 minutes last night. I saw him make a bad drive, slip on a ball. I saw him miss 4 free throws, and I saw him miss 3 shots.
There was one
along with 3 turnovers.
Yeah, there was one stretch. I think it was in the third quarter where there was 4 straight possessions, and there were 4 straight turnovers by both rookies, Mirotic and McDermott.
And the Bulls were scoreless for 8 minutes. I believe it's like 7 minutes to go, or 7 minutes in the second quarter last night.
Yeah, something like that.
That's mostly the stretch where Mirotic and McDermott played. That's not a coincidence.
But you like that depth, though, don't you?
I do like the depth.
Eventually.
Just in case someone does slip and fall and their ACL goes. And I mean, we have that depth.
They get decapitated out there.
I mean, it's good. I think
eventually that depth will pay off. But
and
right now, Right now, it's
right now it's more about stacking wins.
Yeah, and with a deep roster like that, I mean, it's hard to get all the guys in, obviously, but you're gonna see like there's spurts, I think, here and there, maybe every other game where you'll see Dougie has that game or Mirotic has that game that helps contribute to the Bulls win, I think.
Mirotic has been joked about as Mr. Pump Fake. Every time he has an open three, pump fakes the ball.
Shoot the rock.
All right, well, we got to take a break real quick. You're listening to Zigs, Rollie, and Bonam on AU Spartan Radio.
Man, I've been trying to play the piano forever, and I just can't get the hang of it.
Does your music sound like this? Or do you want it to sound like this?
Ooh!
Consider Aurora University's prestigious music program, offering an ever-expanding variety of musical instruments such as guitar, piano, flute, and voice. There is something here for everyone. Let the distinguished musically talented faculty enhance your musical abilities to their utmost potential and also enrich your cultural experience. Aurora University's music program. Musicians of the future, developed today.
I'm so glad I joined the music program.
Man, I've been just about every game I own.
I pinned just about everything on Pinterest.
I wish there was something else we could do. Tired of letting the hours slip away in your room? Want to tap into your creative side? The Perry Theater is the place for you.
Theater? I can't act.
The theater is so much more than just being on stage. You could be involved in tech work, set building, hair and makeup, and so much more.
We should get involved, but how?
Just contact the heads of the theater department, Kelly Roush or John Coran, for more information.
There's 3 shows a year, so there's plenty of opportunity to get involved.
The Aurora University Theater, a warm and welcoming environment where every person helps make a difference.
Uh-oh, sounds like the flu.
I don't have the flu.
Achoo! Yeah, right. Why not check out the Wellness Center?
The what now?
The Wellness Center, a free nurse-directed student health service open to everyone, even commuters.
Yeah, but that means I'll need an appointment.
No. Walk-ins are welcome, but appointments are appreciated.
Okay, but where do I go?
The Wellness Center, located in the basement of Jenks Hall, right next to the Fitness Center. Hours are 8:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. Go check them out. Who are you going to call? The Wellness Center.
All right, welcome back to Zigs, Rollie, and Bonam. We're going to finish off the show talking about the NHL and Blackhawks. Will, take it away.
So my first question, I'm not necessarily a Hawks fan, but it's just because I can't stand Corey Crawford. I mean, honestly, if they had any other goalie, I would be a Hawks fan. You could probably put any other goalie, not Ray Emery, but any other goalie, and I would be happy with the Hawks. But, I mean...
Is it a personal thing? Do you know Corey?
Him and I would go way back. We're huge rivals. No, it's just... He looks so inconsistent to me. Like, he does not look like a goalie who should have been thrown into the starting role position so early. Like, just looking at his stats, he literally started at 57 games. His rookie year, he had 57 games in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he went as a rookie, as a starter. Like, what... How did he get put in that position? Now, he's not doing awful, but then again, he's in a team where you got Kane, Taves, you got Duncan Keith up there. Like, it's an all-star team, no doubt, but I just don't think the goaltending backs it up.
Here's where I counter that. Crawford isn't Henrik Lundqvist. He isn't Carey Price or Pecorine, but he gets the job done. I've seen him had really great playoff performances. Like you're talking about his rookie season or the first season he started. They played against the number 1 seed Canucks, right? I think it was that. I think they got lost in 7 games. It was
no, because the number 1 seed.
The Canucks were the number 1 seed, and I think the Blackhawks struggled through their cup defense and got it in at 8.
I don't think it's that one because his stats from his rookie year is 33 and 18. So he actually had pretty decent stats, like win-loss wise.
Win-loss wise, but you were mentioning goals allowed and
stuff like that. Yeah, that's different. So.
The Canucks series, he played really well. I remember him stealing a few games. I remember in the Cup run against Boston.
No, he's definitely he has some consistent games, but when he finally has that off game, it's 3 or 4 games in a row where he's off. He's not consistent, of course, like you mentioned, Lundqvist. Lundqvist is consistent for 9 games, then he has a bad game, but then he's consistent again for 9 games. But that's something you want in a goaltender. And I think that's something he could have learned as a backup, getting a couple games here or there, to at least get used to the NHL before just being thrown right in.
What do you want to see the Hawks do then?
I want to see, what I would have loved last year at the trade deadline is them to pick up Miller. I really would have loved that because Miller wanted to get out of Buffalo anyways. Mm-hmm. If they picked up Miller, I honestly think the Blackhawks would have won the Cup.
Wouldn't it be too high of a price, though?
Miller, at that point, Miller just wanted a Cup. St. Louis signed him for... I think $2 million just for the half of the year. like you have that space in your salary cap just for the rest of the season. And then Miller went to Vancouver. But if you would have brought in Miller, I honestly don't see a reason why the Blackhawks wouldn't have won the Cup last year. Something like that.
I think the Blackhawks didn't win the Cup last year because they have a history of letting up. I think you mentioned Crawford having a stretch of 3 or 4 bad games in a row sometimes. And I think that's more based off a team thing. And it's
it's definitely not just him.
The Blackhawks have made this reputation ever since they won their first Cup to... They coast. They coast a lot because like a lot of talented teams do that, and it's something difficult to get on like a really good mentality, consistent mentality. They had that one stretch, I think, in the last time they won the Cup where they had a 20 or 26 games in a row point streak. That's something remarkable for the Blackhawks.
A record. Yeah.
That's remarkable for the Blackhawks.
It was insane. But like last year in the playoffs when they got knocked out by the Kings, it wasn't necessarily just Crawford's fault. It was the whole team. Now, I'm not saying even Jonathan Quick was standing on his head, because Game 7 was like a 5-4 or 6-5 win. That's obviously not the goalies doing their best job. And even when I watched that game, I'm watching goals go on, and I'm like, a Bonam goalie could have stopped that. Like, it literally looked like it hit Crawford in the chest and it went in, but the same thing was happening to Quick. So I'm not saying that he's not the worst goalie in the NHL. I'm just saying that, if he was brought in, not thrusted right into the starting role position, he would have done better. Like his sophomore year as a starting goalie, he went 30-17, and he had a save percentage of barely over .9. Like that's not good enough. That's real low stat. So I'm not saying he's an awful goalie. I'm just saying give the guy some time to develop before you give him that starting role position, especially behind some veteran like Miller. You could have put him behind like Rene. Now there's no way that Predators would have given Rene up, but I'm just saying, something like that. Like even Jonathan Bernier was behind Jonathan Quick in LA, and then he got put in the starting role position in Toronto. Like that makes sense though. He played like 2 or 3 years with the Kings, then he got a starting role position. Like that's how you bring goalies into the NHL. So it's stuff like that. Like it makes sense to bring a goalie in as a backup and then put him as a starter. I'm looking at the Capitals right now, who have Holby as their starter. He was thrusted in the starting role position. I don't even like him as a goalie. And I'm a Caps fan. I don't think he's doing that good there.
Was it a mistake to commit to him? To commit to
Crawford? Now I don't think it's so much of a mistake. I just think it's the fact that I think he feels like he's owed the starting position when, in a way, I don't really feel like he's exactly earned it. Like he didn't really put in his due diligence to get it.
Okay, now you're reading into his own thoughts.
Yeah,
but
well, that's kind of what we do, though, isn't it? Like you look at him.
That's all speculation.
Yeah, it is all speculation. But I mean, I think now he's doing better. Like this year, he's 6-3. But even his last couple games, he's kind of been a little shaky, in my opinion. Yeah, he got the shutout against Montreal, but then again, he only had 28 shots. In the NHL, it's pretty low.
The shutouts, and when he has good games, it's mostly when the Blackhawks turn on. And when the Blackhawks turn on, he turns it on. And in my personal belief, I think he's not. I'll agree with you. I think maybe a different goalie, maybe they do win the Cup last year, but they don't get to the Western Conference Finals without him.
No, they didn't.
They against St. Louis, I think he stole at least 2 or 3 games. I think.
Yeah, there was the one in overtime where. I think Taves scored the overtime winner.
Yeah, where he faced 40 shots.
No, that was a good game. He definitely had a couple pretty good games, at least in the first series that I saw. But after that, he kind of... him and the team kind of trickled down, I thought.
Minnesota, too. Minnesota, Game 6, OT, on the road. I remember him stopping 3 straight, 2-on-1 breakaways.
No, there was a highlight I saw where Briskalov stopped one, then he stopped one, and then they scored on Briskalov. It was 2 breakaways in a row, and then the third breakaway scored on Briskalov. So, I mean, yeah, he definitely has moments where
he's won a cup. And he's won
8. But then again, you have to look at the team in front of him. Like I said, it's an all-star team. It really is. It really is an all-star team. If you put Corey Crawford on the Edmonton Oilers, you would not see Corey Crawford there that much longer. He would not last, I don't think. Just his style of play and his skill level, I don't think he would last. You would not see these kind of stats from him.
He's shown the ability though, and I think yeah, obviously, but that's with any goaltender, right? If you put Lundqvist on the Oilers,
not necessarily. You put Ben Scrivens in Edmonton, and he shut out the San Jose Sharks for the most saves in a game while getting a shutout. He literally set the record last year. He had 63 saves for a shutout against the San Jose Sharks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, he's only been in the league for 3 years. It's like that. I don't know. If you put Crawford there, could he have made 63 saves for a shutout against the San Jose Sharks? I don't think so, but, I mean, then again, I don't think we'll be able to see. But that's just...
At least at least the organization believes him. At least if you were general manager.
If I was a general manager and I had Corey Crawford, I wouldn't send him away. But if I had something better, I would definitely take it.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Okay, Will, do you want to talk about the inhaler story?
Yeah,
I want to talk about that.
I thought that was weird. There was okay, so for the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of their forward, Ashton, he's not a top forward, obviously, but he got suspended 20 games for using someone else's inhaler. And it's because the drug testing came back and it had some sort of steroid in it. Now the steroid's to help your breathing.
Right.
But 20 games for using someone else's inhaler?
Here's what I think about it. I read up a little bit on it. So, if he's telling the truth, then yes, it's a bogus suspension. But if he's telling the truth, why is he not appealing?
Well,
because he said he's not going to appeal the suspension, which would theoretically mean that he just made up that story so he doesn't get blamed for.
Yeah, but he also
PEDs.
said he's not going to appeal because he's like, you know what, I was in the wrong. I should have not have done it in the first place. Like, I should have brought my own inhaler. So
Was it
It just sounds
Was
a-
it one occasion? Was it just one time that he used the wrong inhaler, or was it?
Well, that's what
he said.
Claims, yeah.
He said it was an emergency and he
Yeah.
had to use someone else's inhaler. But I just have a weird feeling that if he's not going to appeal the suspension for doing it one time, and like it was an emergency, it seems sketchy because why wouldn't he fight it? Because then he would get to play. Because if he's in the right, then he'll get away with it. And I guess not get away with it. It's probably the wrong terminology, but the suspension will get either reduced or taken away if he fights it.
Right. Well, it's not just a suspension. Like, he's also he's losing $170,000 of his own pay.
You'd think you would want to fight that if you actually didn't do anything wrong. If you unknowingly took.
But I mean, there's no real fighting the fact that it's in your system. That's kind of a thing too. Is you can't fight that you took some sort of drug, whether it was an inhaler or something else, that's in your system, and that's illegal for the league.
But that's what happened to Richard Sherman in the NFL. He got busted for Adderall, and then he fought it because he had a prescription for it or whatever. And then he got away with it. So you'd think if the guy is actually telling the truth and feels like he's innocent, then he'll fight it. But
he does have an inhaler, but his doesn't have that specific drug in it. Like, you can obviously get different kinds of inhalers for different kinds of symptoms.
Right.
So
is
that?
Sorry.
No, go right ahead.
Is the drug testing too harsh? I mean, it's not just the NHL, but I think I should pose this to all of you. Is drug testing too harsh here?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, I personally, this is the first thing I've really heard drug-wise come out of the NHL in a really long time, and this is over an inhaler. From what the story is, like, I don't think that's harsh at all. I mean, there's of course rumors of players doing other kinds of drugs. Which are rumors, and a couple of them.
Well, probably like painkillers, right, and things like Thoradol.
Like cocaine.
Thoradol.
Okay. What was the story? Someone got caught with cocaine over the past
There's been a couple. Well, it used to be that Kane did cocaine.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, that he did cocaine regularly, and that the Stahl brothers did cocaine. That Eric Stahl for the Carolina Hurricanes, he did cocaine 3 hours before games.
Yeah, that's who I heard.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah.
Obviously, this is all speculation. We're not claiming anything.
It's clear speculation. Patrick Kane is not a cocaine addict.
Well, there have been reports of the organization also approaching him and saying, "Look, you got to get your problem under hand. Like, you gotta."
Yeah, you gotta get this under control.
And
he was gonna drink himself out of the league.
Yeah,
Kane.
Yeah.
You're right.
He has a history of problems when it comes to stuff like that.
He got it together, though. I mean, after they called him out on it, he's been one of the more consistent star players in the league. Yeah,
he got it together, and then his stats dropped dramatically.
Yeah,
right away.
I think the stat thing more is why is that the Blackhawks are loaded at like wings and forwards.
Well, no. Like, it was mid-season and like they were like,
oh right, when he did it, right? Yeah,
yeah.
They're back up to like par.
Oh
for
no,
him,
they're
though,
back
yeah.
up to where it was before. Yeah, but like immediately, he's probably going to like withdrawals and stuff like that. So his stats completely dropped.
Yeah.
Real quick, Will, you want to talk about fighting? And if you think it should be allowed or a good idea.
There's this huge thing with trying to take fighting on the NHL. Now, as a player and being in games, it is so annoying to see people just get so chippy. And if you just let them fight, it's done. The rest of the game, you won't get a slash on the back of the hand. You won't get hit in the back of the leg with a stick. It's just let the guys fight and it's over with.
It's over.
Okay, because I actually think they should get rid of it because I don't really care about watching a fight. It doesn't do anything for me. I'll just fast forward it.
Yeah.
But like Olympic hockey, where fighting is not allowed, and playoff hockey, where fighting is not allowed.
It is allowed.
They just don't do it.
Yeah, they're more.
Okay, so it's allowed, but they don't do it. And Olympic hockey, it is actually not allowed.
Yeah, it's not allowed. International play, it's not allowed.
Olympic hockey is like the best thing in the world to watch.
Oh yeah,
it's the best. And I'm not saying that that's because fighting isn't allowed, but I think the stop and play that fighting is distracting and it takes away from the game.
Yeah.
Personally, I also think it's stupid because someone's going to get knocked out and have brain damage for no reason.
I think it's not necessarily no reason though. Like in the NHL,
it's kind of no reason.
It depends.
It's
though.
a game.
It is a game, but it depends. Like, there's sometimes you got to really send a message. Like, if you come in and you cross-check your goalie, that dude should get the crap beat out of him. Like, being a goalie, I've had that happen multiple times. I've actually got knocked out from people doing that to me. Like, as a goalie.
Well, then that shouldn't be allowed.
It isn't, but
kicked out of
it
the
still
game.
happens. But, like, the team will keep doing it until someone stops them and steps up. So that's when your team ends up fighting. There's no, like, good system on how to stop what happens, but... I mean, right now the system that we have in place, it works. Like, there are people on the team who literally are there just as enforcers to stop it. I think if you take it out, though, you're going to have a lot of people who just stop watching hockey. And there goes the profit for the NHL.
I was actually going to bring up that point. I think Connor touched on it. I think it's more negative attention than people watching the NHL. Do people really watch the NHL for just fights instead of the quality of play?
Yeah.
Would you stop watching the NFL?
I wouldn't.
NHL?
I watch it honestly for the goalies though. Like being a goalie, I watch it because I want to model myself after them. I know a lot. There's a saying like I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. Like,
yeah.
I mean I've heard that multiple times by people who literally just go to watch fights.
I think it's more of a case of notoriety. I mean, the NHL I don't think they necessarily care about the mainstream Sports Center audience, which fair to that, that's not the best audience. But when people think of hockey, like to me, if you want to build your audience, people think of the fighting first before they think of the quality of play. I believe that. I think if you got it out of the game and you let people focus on the drama and the crazy amount of shots and goalies standing on their heads and teams coming back from series deficits, I think it'd be an overall benefit. I'm not saying to take hockey overall out of the game, but like Connor said, I think it's...
Take hockey out of the game?
Or take hockey out of the game. Just make it a fighting sport.
So you want to watch boxing? Okay.
Yeah. Fighting out of hockey, but... You know, it's just... It's a different circumstance.
It is different. I just don't think you can really take it all out. Like, they've gotten way more strict on it, of course. Like, you can't just have, like, constant bench clearing brawls. Like, last year... I think there was maybe one, if two, bench clearing brawls. Mm-hmm. 2 years before that, I can think of this huge brawl between Boston and Montreal where literally there was 8 people in each penalty box. And there was only 4 people on the bench, like as subs.
Or was that last year when they both teams like immediately at face-off, they just dropped the gloves? And
yeah, I think that might have been
Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
I will say that's kind of fun is when, like, before the game even starts, the first puck drop and everyone just drops the gloves.
I mean,
that's kind of fun.
I've had that actually in warm-ups when I played juniors.
Are you serious?
There's a team in Canada where one kid crossed the line. Because you're not supposed to cross the center of the ice in warm-ups. One kid crossed the line. He's like, if you do that again, I'm fighting you. He did it again. And I'm not kidding you. Before the game even started, I'm tangled up with another goalie just holding him. And we're not fighting. We're literally just talking like, hey, how are you doing? I'm all right. You want to go for lunch after this? He's like, lunch? Dude, it's 9 o'clock. I'm like, sorry, I got hit in the head too many times with pucks. Like, we're joking around, but like sometimes it builds camaraderie with other teams if you have a relationship like that. You know, like if you're not looking to fight, you're just like, hey, I don't want you to beat the crap out of my teammates. But like at the same time, you will have idiots who that's all they're out there for is a fight. So if you take it away, it's just going to get chippy. You're not going to solve anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair point. You have first-hand perspectives where we talk.
All right, well, Ryan, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks
for
for
being our
having us
guest.
on.
So for that, we're going to say goodbye. For my partners, Robert Zaglinski and Will Rollader, I am Connor Bonam, saying thank you for listening to Zigs, Rollie, and Bonam on AU Spartan Radio.